Hi everyone, I'm getting my camera to work. I'm having technical difficulties. Welcome to Left Undone Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathy. Nice to see you guys. Hold on, I'm just trying to get my camera back on. Give me 1 second. Camera, what's going on with the camera today? Hold on. I'm having problems. Anyway, just give me 1 second and I will be right there to talk about crazy Lori Vallow Day. And I don't know what happened to my camera. Maybe I don't have a camera today. It's on right here. Oh, there we go. Okay, got it. Hello. That's my bad. So welcome to Left Undone Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathy, and I see people in the chat. Look at my little friends from my old job. Hi, you guys. Nice to see you. Are you at work? So I guess Angie told you all that I've been following the Lori Vallow Daybell case now for, I don't know, 5-6 years almost. And by accident, I started a YouTube channel right before COVID, and here we are. So nice to see you. Miss you guys. So everybody else in the chat, these are my old nurse coworkers here visiting. Say hi. Oh, you're at work. You guys aren't busy? Are you busy? I'm sure you're busy. There's no way you're not busy. But thank you for watching. Did anybody see part of today, the trial today? Anybody? Let's see who's here. Deborah Seller. Hello all. I can hang for a while tonight, but not too long. Love Kathy's take on things. Thank you so much. Yeah, I half listened today. I had a really busy day at work, and oh, hi Michelle. Oh my gosh, now I'm gonna be nervous. Like you guys all watching me on TV. How weird is that, right? Hi Michelle. Hi Kathy's nurse friends. That's Layton. Layton's one of my mods here. You only saw it on your lunch break. Well, I was saying that, and for those of you who are new, by the way, I'm kind of being ADD right now. Please say hello in the chat, and we will talk about this case. So we saw yesterday, and Lori Vallow Daybell is being lawyer Lori. Cuckoo. And oh my God, this morning, you guys, Angie, did you guys see when she was asking the paramedic about ACLS and CPR and all that stuff? Like, she doesn't know what the heck she's asking. And it is so bizarre. I think her whole point is she's trying to get the paramedics to say that that Alex was upset and he didn't know what he was doing and he did CPR because he was so distraught, but then she said he was calm, and maybe she's all over the freaking map. Let's just put it that way. So we will play a couple of her clips from today. And I'm sure I missed some of it because of work. So I'm a hospice nurse, for those of you that don't know. Also, you guys, my nurse friends, look at, my cat bit me and I drew a thing around it, but I think the red is spreading and I think I need an antibiotic. And yes, you saw that. I was like, oh, first of all, when you know what they're talking about, and then you hear Lori asking her stupid questions, because she asks stupid questions and she's acting all like Miss Professional. And when she's asking these stupid questions, and you're like, oh my God, it's, why didn't you get epinephrine? Yes. Probably not to a dead person. Like, what on earth does she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's like I don't know what research she was able to do, because she complained the whole time. I'm going to turn my air conditioner on. It's hot in my house. It was like 95 out here today. I live in the desert, you guys. So, I don't know what research she did, what her sources are, because she complained so much about not having resources or the ability to research or have time, or she's locked away in this maximum terrible, awful jail with slop to eat and all these women did you see that interview? Angie, did you see her interview? The other one, the newest one where she's like this advocate for these innocent women that are going to be on death row in prison and been there for 8 years in jail. Well, we know Lori lies and talks out of both sides of her mouth, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. And she lies, and she lies some more, and she lies some more. Yes, join our Discord. We do. We have, it's kind of been quiet lately because I've been kind of busy. Yes, I'm back to doing hospice. Well, with my mom, it's easier because her dementia is exhausting. And so it's easier that I can go see patients and then document at home. I quit high-risk OB case management because they never gave me a pay raise hardly in 7 years. And I'm looking at what everybody else is making that's been a nurse as long as me. And I was like, okay, I'm getting ripped off. So I did leave. And so here I am doing hospice out here in the hot desert. I don't know how it's going to be through the summer. And then this weekend is Coachella. And everybody's going to start rolling in probably tomorrow and the next day. And then Coachella 2 weekends in a row, and all the streets get blocked off. I don't know. It's going to be crazy to get around because my area is right here. I live in Indio, so we got Coachella, Stagecoach. If you guys ever go to Stagecoach or Coachella, come swimming. I got a pool. Come on over. Okay. Let's see. Her source is the back of a cereal box. Seriously, no kidding. Today wasn't a very good day. Judge Boreski cautioned her because she was testifying again. She keeps trying to testify. I missed that part. I got to put my screen up a little higher so I can see the comments. Yeah, she's a Looney Tunes. So let me pull up Lori because I didn't want to keep you guys long tonight. I didn't get done working. The good part is I get overtime almost every day because we're short-staffed as usual. And I didn't get done working till 6, so that's why I was like, I gotta eat something real quick and then come over here. There's so many people having streams right now because everybody that is at the court, there's a lot of creators over there, and then they're having their streams afterwards. So we're not going to get a big crowd here, but I do like the fact that all you guys are here, and then hello to the replay crew for people that watch it later. But what I was going to say is I am really glad I'm not there. I was feeling really FOMO. I wanted to go really bad. I went to both Idahos. I went to Chad's and I went to Lori's for part of the time. And I was there when Lori was found guilty, when the jury came back. That was super interesting. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I really, really, really want to go this time. And now I'm kind of glad I'm not. I think I would be dying of boredom listening to her. First of all, like Carolina said last night, Lori's the only one that doesn't know that all she has to do is cause reasonable doubt with the jurors, but she doesn't know that. She's just being lawyer. What did you say, Leighton? She thinks she's on Law and Order. Like, for real, she's... Ugh. So, anyway, I'm so over her. Yep, Coachella Music Fest. But so many people come in here right now. It's like the whole place explodes. I would go to the grocery store last year during Coachella. I'm like, and then the closest grocery store right here is Winco, and they don't take credit cards. And everybody's like trying to pay with credit cards because people pay with credit cards. I'm like, no credit cards. In the line at the grocery store. Okay, that's a tangent. Let me pull up. And you guys know that we will be having a live stream. I'm going to try to do it every night during the trial and at least go through a little bit of a recap. And then we'll do our Saturday lives where we're having normal, live where we can discuss it more and our regular people might be back. Let's see. Where is the court TV one that I like to watch because they're the ones with the stream. Angie, aren't you guys busy delivering babies? So everybody that doesn't know, I was a labor and delivery nurse in Orange County for about 10 years there at that hospital that they work at, and they're all still there. So they've been there for longer than me too. They were all there when I started. So these are some old nurses. Remember when we had old nurses? We had Phyllis and Susan and all those nurses, and now that's you guys and me, but I'm not there. You are them now, right? Okay. But you guys are leaving. Aren't you clocking out right now? Let's change a shift. Okay. You are the oldies. Isn't that funny? Like, I remember being a brand new nurse and them sitting there when we were in the old building. And so when the hospital we worked at had an old building, and then they put in a big tower while we were there. But I remember sitting there one time, like, charting, because we were still on paper charting, and one of the nurses was like, "Night shift, go home." I was like, I'm just trying to finish my chart. All right, let's see. Conspiracy, that's for tomorrow. This is day 2. Let me get out of here. Lunch break. Okay. I want to go to Lori and her questioning the paramedic, because it was like, oh my gosh. Oh, hi, Trina. Trina's working. You guys, all you guys are still there. That's so crazy. And Angela came back. That's wild. All right. All right, there's Lori. I'm going to share the screen, but I'm just going to get to where she's doing her thing here, which isn't much of a thing. She is such, I haven't heard any interviews. Has anybody heard any interviews with Kay and Larry since this whole thing started yet? Because I would love to hear what Kay has to say. Kay Woodcock is the sister of Charles Vallow, the one that was murdered. So, and she's also JJ's maternal grandmother biologically. So, anyway. All right, let me share my screen and we can talk about Lori. I just have to do my present. Sorry, my setup is really bad today because it is. Because I'm trying to juggle too many things. Share screen and this one. Okay. And Lawyer Lori is on her way. Here we go. Volume's coming. Here she comes. I wonder who bought her clothes. I think Summer, huh? Okay, it's got to be their audio, right? Hold on. What? There we go.
Walked into the house, proceeded forward, saw a patient on the floor to the right, proceeded to the patient to start an assessment and evaluation.
And then Captain Keller had already come in.
I'm pretty confident, yes, he would have been quicker.
So Lori has a shock belt on, and I'm wondering, I wish it would accidentally go off at least just once, right? Wouldn't that be nice? Would be funny. You would be surprised if her sister has anything to do with her. Yeah, but Summer made a comment to me in a Facebook group recently, and she really defended the fact that Lori is sick with delusional disorder, and she wished she knew more and would have got her help sooner and all this stuff. And hindsight is 2020, but they're victims too. And I think in some way that she's sort of like feeling that she still loves her sister and thinks she's sick. So I don't know how much she's doing with her now or not, but I got a sense that it's more now than it was just by her comment to me. So here we go. And she's wearing this like suit, right? With this like flared like overcoat or blazer. But I think she's wearing these clothes to hide that shock belt that she has to wear. I heard somebody say, give Kay the buzzer. Wouldn't that be fun? Here, accidentally bump into the guy with the buzzer. All right, here we go. Lori or Lori? Back to Lori or Lori.
Or getting off the truck and inside.
And so you did your assessment, and then what?
My assessment revealed that he was unresponsive, no pulse, no breathing, so I would have started CPR, started chest compressions.
Did you do that with his shirt on?
I would have lifted that out of the way so I could find the proper landmarks.
So you had said that you saw that there was, let's see, 2 gunshot wounds, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you saw that through the shirt? Or how did you assess that when you first entered? That's my question.
Once I'm doing CPR, I can see 2 bullet holes in the shirt. I can see that on the chest and on the abdomen. I can see the wounds as I'm looking at the chest and doing chest compressions.
Okay. And then he had on what color shirt?
Okay.
I wouldn't have recalled other than...
Honest to God, who, why? Why does she need to know what color shirt Charles had on that day? I swear she just says stuff to be up there longer. Honest to God, goodness. Shit, this is when she started irritating me this morning.
Video yesterday. I think it was a dark colored shirt I think we saw on the screen.
And so you had talked yesterday about the blood being more blood on chest, not pooled around your knees, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
And so with the dark shirt, was it hard to see the blood? I'm kind of trying to see what you saw when you entered.
I remember seeing blood on the chest.
I mean, this is so stupid. Honestly, this today when I heard this, when I was driving, I was just like, she is on my last nerve now. This is going to be a long trial if this is the kind of questions she's going to get to try to express, get them to have reasonable doubt. I still laugh because Carolina said that. It's like so freaking true. All right. Whoa, did you see blood? Or was the shirt too dark to see the blood? No, dude, he had blood with gunshot through his heart. Like, what? Okay, I'll stop, you guys. But, that's what we're here for.
It wasn't, I remember not seeing blood on the abdomen.
And there were holes in the shirt, 2 holes in the front side?
Yeah, usually with 2 bullets.
I would, best of my recall, yes.
Okay. And when did you cut off the shirt, and how does that procedure work?
How does that procedure?
I continue doing CPR, chest compression.
How does the procedure of cutting off a shirt work? Let's see. Sterile gloves. Like, what? You cut it. Okay, sorry. I don't know why, but this particular cross-examination with her today just threw me over the edge. Over the edge. It's only going to get worse, I'm sure.
Compressions, one of my other colleagues would have cut that off, and knowing that the shirt maybe is potentially evidence, that's why I said to her, don't cut through where the holes are. So she could have cut down the side instead of on the top of the body.
And do you use like a special scissors or something for that?
Yeah, we have some trauma shoes
Special.
on our equipment.
Very special.
Okay. And who was that? Was that Phelps or?
I believe that was firefighter Kaczynski.
Okay. Kaczynski, that's one I didn't have. So who all was sitting there with you that was on scene at that time?
Firefighter Fife would have been there. Firefighter Kaczynski, the 3 of us, kind of like we saw in the video or like the picture yesterday. All 3 of us around the patient, while Captain Keller was standing back a little bit, like you saw in the picture.
Okay. You said that you had been a CPR instructor for 12 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
Okay, yeah, this irritated me too, just FYI. Her questioning about being a CPR instructor, because she goes on and on with this nonsense about it. I think what her brain is trying to do is to prove that you cannot tell somebody how to give CPR properly.
And was that for the last
But
12
she's
years
wrong.
or 12 years ago?
Approximate dates 2004 to 2016, let's say.
Okay. And so have you taught people who have never done CPR before?
Have I taught those individuals?
Yes.
Right, and not
We've-
just like people
sometimes beginners
renewing
take
their
CPR.
certification, but both.
Correct.
Okay. How many people would you say that you've taught that have never done CPR before?
Never done CPR, and it's probably in the hundreds over that long of doing that.
So you'd be familiar with how a first timer would react?
Yeah, you try to forewarn them what to expect.
Okay. So these first timers, they have to be taught the appropriate place to place their hands. Would that be fair?
That is part of the course, yes.
And so do you show them or do you just tell them in class where to put their hands?
It's a video-based system through American Heart. There's a curriculum that we would have been following.
Okay. So if you could only tell them, like over the phone, that might be difficult for them to know the correct placement of their hands.
So she's trying to say that Alex didn't know how to do it right because the operator was telling him how to do it over the phone, and he was too stupid to follow the directions properly. I mean, we heard the 911 call. The 911 operators are very good at giving the directions. But, okay, here we go.
If they've never done it before.
I guess it depends on the instructions that the dispatcher gave. Ultimately, if I was telling somebody over the phone, you want to put your hands on their chest, on the lower part of the chest. It's that kind of simple, so to speak.
Okay. But without the video, if you were teaching a class and you didn't have the video, it might be difficult, right? For a bunch of first timers?
Objection, speculation.
Or a bunch of first timers. Like, she tries to act like she's so smart and snarky, for a bunch of first timers, those people that don't know CPR. Can you imagine just telling them how to do it over the phone and then letting them do it?
You can answer.
Does it mean answer? Oh, okay. Sorry. Can you repeat the question then?
Yeah, so it might be difficult. If you didn't have the video, it might be difficult, for a bunch of first timers to know exactly what to do if you just had to tell them middle of the chest, lower chest.
I mean, you could obviously show on a person. You could show on yourself.
If you couldn't show them and you could only tell them, could it be difficult?
I suppose it's possible depending on the person.
Okay, that's fair. So do you think that your CPR class would be fairly successful if you had no visuals?
Objection, relevance, speculation.
Next question.
I got it, Your Honor.
Like,
So
move on,
if a
lady.
person had never done it before and was just told how to do it, is it possible that they might not be acquainted with where to put their hands?
It's possible.
And it would also be possible that they might not do it properly.
Did you hear about the new trend called soap nails? All the beauty media are talking
Oh,
about
boy.
ultra shiny,
I forgot
natural
we're on
and
the-
healthy looking nails, the clean girl
That could be possible too.
And right now,
Right,
when you're teaching
Janet.
CPR, and I didn't say you are teaching right now, but if you're teaching a class, are they just doing percussions now? There's no
Percussions.
breathing in the mouth?
Percussions. They're doing
It's gonna
percussion.
Depend on the level of the class. As far as the
Compressions,
rescue
Lori.
people that have never done it before, that just want to have the training.
They're doing percussions, not compressions. Now she's calling it percussions. Because oh my God. Like with a drum? I don't know. Ugh.
It's evolved and we're teaching compression only. That is a form of CPR now also, just doing chest compressions.
And how long do you teach to do that for? How long of a period before you take a rest or?
Well, it varies
Well,
depending on if the patient is an adult or a child. There are different guidelines that American Heart offers. So in those courses, they're getting to learn information for adults and children and infants also.
Correct, right. So for an adult, how long, like 30, 100, 150? It's been a while.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
With an adult, they're also taught they need to call for help right away also. So that's a factor. Are they alone? Is somebody else able to call? Can they call, put the phone on speaker, start, while talking to 911? And then they would just keep going until help arrives.
So there's no timing, like you take a 10-second break, you just do compressions?
Not for that type of level of CPR, there wasn't.
Okay.
Why is she trying to say you don't take a break during CPR? I mean, unless you absolutely physically can't do it anymore and somebody comes to take over. That's how it works. But there's not like an actual, let me take a 10-second break, buddy. Don't die. Hold on. I'll be right back. Gotta take a cigarette break.
So it's helpful if you had someone there that you could like take turns, like I do 100 and then you do 100, because it's kind of exhausting, right?
Objection, compound question, relevance.
I'll sustain it as the compound question. You can re-ask the question ask it in a different way. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think personally what I heard, I didn't hear him actually doing CPR when you listen on the 911 call. But they are saying that there would have been more blood that had spewed. And especially what I'm thinking they're thinking or saying why they think that is because we know by the time he called 911 and he said, I don't know how to do that, when they gave him the instructions on how to do CPR, and then he's like, well, okay, I'll try, or whatever he said, that was, 45 minutes after? 45 minutes after Charles was shot. So by that time, the guy is long gone. He's already up there dancing in heaven. There's just no way. So Alex knew that. Alex knew he waited long enough to make sure that nobody could save Charles. But they could tell, even though they came in and did it. But he had, later when you listen to the other expert, he had modeling and lividity. So he was dead for a while. And, it's like the circulation stops. So then you get all this blood that just pools on the posterior side, like on his back, on the back of his arms, on the back of his legs. That's lividity, right? And that doesn't happen 5 minutes after you die. You have to lay there for a little bit. And then the modeling, the circulation stops. And I do, and don't tell Lori this, but sometimes you do see modeling when somebody is actively dying, but that's more of a person that's on their deathbed dying, not I'm gonna shoot you, gunshot to the heart dying, because they talk about modeling. And modeling is when your hands all of a sudden look kind of purple and pale and blotchy, that's modeling. But you'll see that in a person that's dying. Like today, one of my patients that I saw, her hands and feet are super cold and her feet are mottled and she's actively dying. So, but that's somebody that's actively dying. Completely different story than shooting a person that's fit and walking in the door with the blood circulating perfectly well.
So how long did you administer the CPR before you did the flip over?
The flip over.
How long do you think that was?
Before we rolled him to look at the back? Is that what you're-
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
I would estimate maybe up to a minute.
Okay. And then were you counting compressions? Is that what you were doing during that time, or do you not count? You just do it for a certain amount of time?
I don't recall if I was counting. I mean, I was doing the chest compressions while waiting for the rest of the team to arrive and for us to continue assessing, see if we're going to continue to work the patient and utilize more equipment.
And there were 3 of you there.
4 total, but 3 by the patient.
Hi, Claire.
And then you could take turns, right? Like trade off if you needed.
You're not
to.
missing much.
to, yes.
She's just,
So that'd be a lot easier.
Lori is
than
very
when you're just
boring.
there by yourself.
her questions are very
Would you
stupid.
agree?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know how long,
Once you try a comfort hoodie, you
Commercial.
can't go back to regular
Is that-
hoodies. They're slightly weighted, super oversized.
That keeps
That
scaring
perfect
me.
fit That makes you feel like you're wrapped.
The commercials keep scaring me. I don't expect them because they don't have them when it was live streaming, but
how long after the rolling over did you started doing compressions again? Is that correct?
you'd think she would have sharpened up her vocabulary a little bit
And how
by
long
the
did you do that
rollover
for?
thing.
I would estimate maybe upwards of another minute
So maybe 2 minutes total?
during that sequence, yes.
And was there another sequence?
At some point, we would have stopped doing chest compressions so we could evaluate the heart rhythm. That's on the heart monitor.
With the heart
And you
monitor?
can't be doing compressions to evaluate that.
Okay. And then you didn't continue compressions after the heart monitor at all?
From what I recall, I resumed again in brief discussion as far as what direction we were going to go.
And what were the results of the heart monitor?
There was
It was
no
dead.
electrical activity.
And how long was the heart monitor applied compared to when you started the first compressions?
Seriously.
I'm not sure if I understand the question. Maybe you can reword it or.
Sure.
Yeah, put the AED on.
To your treatment, I should say. Did you guys stop and do the heart monitor?
I would estimate that the monitor probably was on within 2 minutes of making patient contact.
Okay.
She has no idea
And how long does
what
that
she's
take?
talking about.
To do what? To put it on?
Well, yeah, to put it on, get a reading, and decide what you're going to do next.
It could take, I mean, you got to turn it on, open up a compartment to get the pads out of that compartment. You've got to open that packaging to be able to apply it to the patient's chest area. If the chest is wet, which there's some blood, you need to dry that so it's going to adhere more properly, read more properly. So you could be looking at 30 seconds to a minute possibly of
Why?
working through that.
Why does she need to know this?
And did you have to do that in this case?
I know. That's going to be
remove
good.
blood to stick them on?
I would assume so, but I was doing chest compressions, so that would have been one of the other two firefighters kind of working through that.
Okay. So I understand correctly, you said when you rolled him over, did you cut the shirt in the back also to see the exit wounds? Is that,
No, we only had to cut the shirt one time. That was when he was still laying on his back. You cut it down the side and that opens it up to where then you can remove it from the body, pull it off.
so you
Yeah.
did pull it off completely at some point?
More than likely.
I think she's got a couple of angles. One of them is that Alex wouldn't have been able to know how to do it properly, being just told how to do it without a visual. And two, when they came in, well, they did it, but maybe they did it wrong or they didn't do it long enough or they didn't, because she does ask about the epi. Okay.
I would say yes, that's typically what we would do.
Okay. But you don't remember if you did that in this case?
I know that I didn't do that because I was doing chest compressions, so I would assume one of my colleagues did that completely. That's typically what we do.
Okay. And so you're back to doing the compressions for the third time, and then you stopped that at some point. Was there another procedure after that?
No, at that point in time is when we would have called the patient.
And who announces that?
Ultimately, I remember our captain, since he's in charge of the crew, would be considered the lead medic. He has the most experience. He's also charting the call, kind of running it. kind of made that final decision.
And that would be Captain Keller. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yes, correct.
Yes, you did.
And then he did call it at, do you know what time?
It would have, I don't have it memorized, no, it would have been like in the charting that he was doing.
And who documents that?
He would have
He
documented
would have
that.
done it? In preparation for your testimony here today, did you review the 911 call at all?
No, not in preparation for today. Not the actual audio, no.
No.
No, not today, not for this.
What did you review for today?
I was able to look at the incident times were dispatched by Phoenix Fire Department. I was able to look at the paper documentation. I was able to see my testimony from Idaho. I was able to see my testimony with Chandler PD when they came to the fire station a couple of weeks after this incident.
She does do that, Claire.
And what paper documentation did you actually take a look at?
It would have been the chart that Captain Keller documented.
And what does that chart consist of?
There would be scene times, date, time, address, patient information, name, address, maybe medical history, things that we, a narrative of what we discovered, what we've done, treatments that we've done, the heart rhythm.
Sandra, do you know where that was? What witness when she got in trouble? I don't think I heard it.
So that would all be in Captain Keller's
No, I want to hear that part.
Correct.
And you did take a look at that in preparation for today?
Yes.
And did you write a report regarding this incident?
No.
You don't have to document anything?
Just one person documents the call.
So for all of the people that were there from fire?
Correct.
Okay. So that's the total report, is you just give your input to him and he puts it into the report?
Correct.
And that's the same for the other two firefighters that were along with you?
That's correct.
Okay. So they don't have their own individual reports as well?
No.
Okay. And what time were you dismissed from the scene?
We probably only remained an additional 5 to 10 minutes. The chart would have that time. I don't necessarily have it by memory.
So how long were you at the scene total?
If I had to estimate without looking at it, I would say approximately 20, 25 minutes.
Okay. And then you were like the driver of the truck, right? Was that your responsibility? So you
Correct.
drove in and then did you drive out as well?
Correct.
Okay. So if you guys arrived around 8:41 or something like that, then you left around 25 minutes later?
Oh,
Would that
that
be
makes
accurate?
sense, Carolina.
I guess when I was giving that estimate of like the 20, 25, I was even including like our dispatch time from the time we're dispatched, driving to the scene. So if you're wanting to know actual on-scene time, it might be closer, instead of the 20 to 25, it might be more of a closer to 20 solid. Like,
20 minutes?
yeah.
Okay. And is that typical for a call?
It can vary depending on the calls.
Okay. So what other things did you do in that 20 minutes besides administer to the patient?
So I'm including in that time while we're staged.
I'm going to try as much as I can. If I put one up, we're probably doing it. But there's only like tomorrow, I have to do for my job, I have to write a report on every patient to present every Thursday morning in a meeting. And so sometimes my Wednesdays get a little too crazy and I'm working overtime. So tomorrow might be hit or miss. We'll see. But hopefully, that's why I scheduled it for 6:30. I'm not allowed to work past 7 because that puts me into double time. So, I already did some of them already, so I might be okay to do it again tomorrow. But my plan is, yes, to do it every day, every evening. And I'm going to try not to make it like the whole thing because we know the prosecutor knows her stuff and she's doing a good job. I was kind of trying to focus on how dumb Lori is right now. Yeah, I want to because I want to see her get in trouble and stuff. Like I'm living for this stuff right now. This is big. This is important to me for Lori to look like a fool. All right, here we go.
Staged around the corner, waiting for PD to arrive, then for PD to clear the scene, for us to drive to the scene. There's the time with the patient, and then there's going to be the cleanup afterwards. Removing our equipment, going outside. Maybe the equipment needs to be cleaned, restocked, ready for another call. So when we drive away, we're ready to respond to another emergency and then drive away.
Okay. So when you were done with the patient and you were going through that procedure of cleaning.
Yeah, sounds good. Please. I don't think I
were you
can
in
do
the
it
house
from
or did you
here.
exit the house?
I have to be
We'll remove
on.
all of our stuff and we'll go outside, typically to the front bumper of the fire truck.
And then what do you do?
We have cleaning chemicals on the truck that we could get out to, clean our equipment up to reuse.
Might be able to
We've
do it.
got
Hold on.
Cabinet with restock to be able to restock anything that might need to be. So we'll take care of those things to be ready to respond to another call.
Okay. And while you were out front, did you see Alex on the curb?
I did see somebody on the curb, or I don't remember if he was on the curb or standing, but I remember seeing somebody with an officer or officers. I don't recall how many people might have been together.
Okay. And did you converse with those officers at all during that time?
I don't believe so. I don't really remember conversing with any officers on scene. That would have been more Captain Keller, charting, documenting, kind of getting information from them. He would be able to answer that question.
Okay. So did you, was anybody in firefighting on your team, the 4 of you that were there, was anyone asked to take a look at Alex?
We were not.
Let's see. Have you spoken to the media about this case?
Can I object? Relevance?
What's the relevance?
Where's she going with this?
What is the relevance, Your Honor?
That was the question. What is the relevance?
Just to know how many times he's given testimony?
Your Honor, I'm
Right,
going
I'm gonna
to, maybe we can
hold on.
sidebar.
Yeah, I don't want to. All right, let's go on sidebar.
What's the relevance? Because I want to know. Isn't that good enough answer? They're going on sidebar, so let me go. Just fast forward. Sidebar.
Mr. Cowden, is it possible that if there was a wound to the chest, that doing compressions on that could cause other damage?
I suppose it's possible, but ultimately it doesn't matter.
The benefits outweigh the risk, dummy. Oh my God. I think trying to save the guy versus hurting him are, what would you pick? Oh my God, she kills me. Oh my God, she kills me.
Doesn't matter if the heart isn't beating. It's what you got to do. It's the appropriate treatment.
So would a calm
I
person
don't
who
mean
doesn't
to
have
lie. I'm not.
CPR,
Honestly,
Maybe.
I don't mean to laugh because this is tragic and poor Charles, but I would hope that he can watch from above and see what a fool she's being over this this questioning. What, you want to do more? What, couldn't you do more damage to the poor dead man? And he's like, well, doesn't matter. Oh my God. Ah. Okay. I just can't sometimes with it. Okay, hold on. Let me get back. I got myself all sidetracked here. Okay. Okay. There you go.
we hesitate about pushing on a bullet wound,
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
but you wouldn't.
Can you repeat the question?
You wouldn't hesitate to push on the bullet wound if the heart was stopped,
No, I wouldn't.
and you would have to assess if the heart was stopped in order to do that?
Yes, you would check a pulse like we did. We would, use our equipment like we
Hi,
did.
Corinne.
Okay.
You're going to hurt the heart because it has a bullet in it already. So now you're pushing on it.
Wounds that you saw when you first got there, one was in the chest and one was where?
In the abdomen.
On the right side or the left side?
I would be speculating as to the specific spot or area without actually maybe seeing documentation.
Okay. And can you tell me about the?
I just can't with
I
her.
think
She's
there's a
killing
word
me.
for it, but I'm sorry, I can't remember what it was. The crunch.
The crunch.
When doing the chest compressions,
Correct.
Crepitus?
I don't know if there was necessarily a certain word that I used, but you feel the sternum crack. I compare it to, like I said before, cracking your knuckles.
And how much pressure would you have to apply to get the?
Not much.
I
Normal
that could
CPR.
vary, like depending on who you're doing CPR on.
Like on an adult male?
I mean, it could still vary depending on, the strength of the person doing CPR also. It could vary depending
And how
on
frail the patient
size
is.
of that adult male also. So I've never seen like any science that might say you got to deliver this much pounds of force or anything.
Right,
So,
like 400 pounds of pressure or something?
yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
You're just
There's-
gonna
Yeah, for some reason, she's trying to prove something.
Talk over one another. So he's finished his answer. Go ahead and answer your next question.
So there's no determined amount of pressure, correct?
just hard and fast.
Hard
When it
and
comes to
fast.
people doing CPR, for us, we're working as a team. We have
Push hard, push
to
fast.
us
That's what they tell you in
if we're
ACL
pushing
and
hard.
BLS.
A person without that equipment, just hard and fast.
Okay.
Push hard,
That's
push
fair.
fast.
And then they don't always get the crack, right? It's not always going to happen.
If they're doing it forcefully enough, they would.
So
Oh, I get it, what
if
she's
they
trying to
didn't
say.
enough, it wouldn't.
Okay, so Alex didn't get the crack. And he wasn't doing it right because they didn't explain to him how to do it right. And apparently that was part of it or something. I don't know, man. I don't. Lori.
That is possible, yes.
But then when you come in, the professionals, and you apply the correct
You,
amount of
the
force,
professionals that do it right.
crack.
Unlike my brother.
Yes,
and is that possible that that happened in this case?
it is possible.
Okay, no more questions.
All right.
No more
read rec.
questions. She'll straighten all this out right now.
Does 911 have to regularly instruct people on how to perform CPR?
He did say
I
that.
don't know if
He
I
said,
can answer that.
I'd rather
or
not.
since
I don't know how to do that.
you
Yeah.
know, do that since I'm not 911.
Have you regularly heard while listening to the radio 911 instructing people on how to do CPR?
We have had PTI information when we're responding to a call that will tell us that they are either performing CPR or being instructed to.
So you've seen in the past that 911 is prepared to handle individuals who may not know how to perform CPR.
Yes,
And that's to help try to keep the patient's blood moving while you're en route.
Right.
correct.
He did. He said, I don't know how to do that.
You were asked a lot.
I'd rather not, or something like that. Yeah.
Trading off and other people doing compressions. At this scene with this patient, Charles Vallow, did you ever trade off and have someone else do the CPR compressions?
No,
You were the only one doing the CPR compressions.
Because he
Yes.
was dead.
Were you doing CPR while another paramedic or EMT was getting the heart monitor ready?
yes,
So this timeline of however long it took them is in conjunction with you still performing CPR.
yes,
You talked about Charles's shirt being cut. If photographs from the scene show his shirt still around his neck, would that indicate that it wasn't removed from him?
after the cutting.
Yeah, so if police, let me ask you this. When you guys are done and he's called deceased, do you put his clothing back on or modify him in any way?
No, we would just take our equipment that's necessary to take.
He was.
So
He
if
was
his
very
shirt was
dead.
still around his neck, then that's how it would have been left.
Correct.
You were asked about whether or not you
I'm gonna
should
go to the
perform
next witness in a
CPR
second
on
here.
Person who has a gunshot wound. Is there any reason why a person with a gunshot wound would not need to have blood circulating through their body to bring oxygen versus some other type of injury?
No,
Is the whole point of CPR to make sure that blood is circulating to get oxygen to their brain
yes,
so that they don't go brain dead?
yes,
And you said that ultimately it wouldn't matter if you cause more injuries because if they're brain dead, who cares, right?
correct.
In your assessment, did you feel that no one had performed CPR on Charles Vallow before you arrived?
I had felt that, and I do know in my testimony to Chandler PD, I had stated that, or it's probably in my testimony that it was not efficient or something to those lines. But I felt like no, it had not.
Okay, you felt like no, it had not been done.
Correct.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Exactly.
All right, I see at least one juror question. We'll go on a sidebar. Please, if you're a juror and you have
I don't remember this question. I don't think it was very interesting. I want to move on to this next witness, but I'm just going to go to lawyer Lori because we know that Trina knows her stuff. Percy, no. What are you barking at? Where's lawyer Lori?
If there's exit wounds?
Yes, ma'am, immediately. So they would have cut his shirt, taken his shirt off, rolled him, checked for exit wounds, and then rolled him back and continued compressions.
In this case, are you documenting your observations and others about what you observed when he was rolled?
Yes.
So when he's rolled, you're looking at his back?
Back, right, from the back of the head to the back of the feet.
Okay, so he's completely rolled over so that you can see his back.
Yes.
Did you notice anything about Mr. Vallow's back that may have indicated he'd been there for significantly longer than you originally thought?
There
He
is
did
the
have
lividity.
lividity. So there was modeling, skin modeling and lividity. Once the shirt comes off, then you could see modeling on the skin and lividity had begun to form.
Can you tell us what modeling means?
Modeling is sort of a patchy looking skin caused from hypoxia or not enough oxygen getting to the skin. I mean, you can have mottled skin for different reasons, but in this case, it would be from
Being dead. I already went over this. I'm going to move on a little bit. Lori didn't ask this guy much questions, probably because he was way over her brain head when he was explaining things. Oh, here comes Lawyer Lori. All right, let's see what she's got to say here. Oh my God. She did go in her portal, remember, when she was being questioned that night, that day? She went, crossed her legs and sat in the chair and went,
Captain Keller.
like she went to her portal.
You were first on the scene?
the police department was first, but yes, we were the first fire unit.
First fire on the scene. And can you explain to us what staging is exactly? I'm not really sure.
Sure. Staging, when there's some violent incident, the fire department, the firefighters don't have protective equipment for that sort of a scene. So we will go to a place where close to whatever.
Exactly. But this question you said before up there, who was it? When the phone call comes in, this one, Journeys, when the phone calls come in or text Lori and Alex had after Charles was gone, injured, very much so, with the bullet, how is Lori going to explain why didn't she call 911? The jurors are going to be like, wait a minute, Alex is texting you and you're talking and Tylee's there and you're not even calling 911 as the bystander? She looks so freaking guilty. It's such a waste of time.
Whatever the dispatched address is, that we would be a place of safety, but close, so that as soon as the scene is made safe by the police department, then we would enter into the scene.
So that would be like a couple houses away, or?
Could be a couple
Really?
houses, could be behind cover. In this case, it was gunshot was the call, so you want to make sure that you are a little ways away,
Okay.
in case there was more gunshots.
Right.
Because we don't want to get shot either, lady.
You parked somewhere on the street, but a couple houses down from the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
And then
irrelevant.
part of that staging is you stay there until you get the all clear.
Yes, until the police department says that it's safe to enter the scene.
Okay. And you were wearing body cam that day?
No, we don't wear body
Oh,
cams.
you don't wear body cam? Okay. You were just that was a picture from you on the body cam?
On one
On
of the
someone
police
else's
officers.
body cam?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you use any instruments to obtain current body temperature? Do you guys have an instrument for that?
No.
No? Would that help you give a more approximate time of calling a time of death?
It wouldn't help me. I'm not trained to do that, so we don't
animals
have
trying to
that.
come in
It's
now?
not within our scope of practice to determine that.
It's not part of paramedics training?
No.
Okay. You explained the modeling being patchy looking skin
Yes.
because of no oxygen to the skin. Is that correct?
Decreased, yes.
And so will that continue to increase? I don't really understand. Like it, would you say modeling is complete or in progress? How does that work?
I would say in progress as
All right, I'm going to move on because this is stupid questions anyway. We've already explained modeling. You heard him, and now you need a kindergarten lesson on it. But she doesn't ask anything that makes any difference here. Okay, so she's done. She got done fast. You're right. So let's go. What's next here? Trina K is going back to, to clarify everything because Lori goes up and confuses the world. Okay, so then it looks like they're going on break or something. And this must be lunch break. When does she get in trouble?
Those skills that you learned in that shooting reconstruction course.
Oh, this is the shooting reconstruction guy. Okay. I did not hear what Lori had to say to this guy.
As it was found.
This must be the afternoon break.
Blood, or what appeared to be blood. You look through that area.
God, Lori takes so much time. White noise. Okay, here comes Lori. I did not see this part at all or hear this part. So this one I want to get to him.
Detective Coons, you were the scene agent that day on scene, is that correct?
Primarily, yes.
Did you work for someone else before Chandler Police Department?
United States Army, Arizona Department of Corrections, a couple other little jobs after I got out of the Army.
Did you work for Gilbert Police Department at all?
No,
Would you do some background check on this guy?
And as the scene agent that day, you talked about, you were there. Did you write a report about that day?
yes, ma'am.
When did you write that report?
I don't know the day I sat down to write it. It was shortly after the event,
So close to July 11th, 2019?
close to it.
Within a week, maybe?
Again, I don't recall when I specifically started typing that.
And why does it
When
matter?
you arrived that day, who was there already?
Patrol officers,
Just them?
the fire department might have been there. Alex Cox was there. Other detectives arrived. I couldn't tell you the order of which everybody arrived.
And where did you park?
I parked north of the scene.
And then did you go directly into the house?
No, ma'am.
What did you do first?
We received a briefing of what patrol officers had learned. We learned that there was a body inside the residence, and we came up with an investigative plan.
Who did that debriefing to you?
I don't think anybody specifically
Where
ran
did you
the
park?
debriefing. We, as detectives, gathered around the patrol officers, and they informed us basically of what they had seen and what they had been told.
And who were those detectives with you?
Well, Detective Duncan would have been there with me. Detective Moffett would have been there. I didn't take a roll call of all the detectives there. Possibly Detective Inclin, I don't know.
Okay. And then where did you proceed after that? Debriefing.
Well, after the debriefing, I provided the information of what I had learned to Detective Kaminsky, who is still back at the police department, and gave him the information necessary to request a search warrant for the residence.
And then what?
We waited.
To get the search warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
To have it issued?
To see if the judge would issue it, yes.
And how long did that take?
Don't believe we got word back from the courts until it would have been probably between 11:30, 11:45.
You know, when is it Serena Sharp that's going to be on there come as a witness? You know, Lori's going to be a BI to her. The attitude is going to be 10 times as much as her attitude to these people is. And then to Kay, woo.
And then we made entry shortly thereafter.
So is it your protocol that you can't enter until the search warrant is issued?
That is what we do once the scene has been made secure, yes.
Okay. And then when you entered, who entered with you?
Myself, the crime scene tech, we were the initial ones. I think Detective Duncan might have come in with us as well, but that would have been the extent of the initial entry.
Do you know the name of the crime scene tech that was with you?
Jordan,
Is that the last name or first name?
the last name.
And then what did you do after that?
Well, after that, we continued to go with our normal process of having photographs taken. I did the lizard
think
cube
Gibb isn't on the-
spheres. I completed getting information necessary for the.
Oops, sorry. For whatever reason, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, that Melanie Gibb and Zalema, they're not even on the list, or Melanie P. for this one. Does anybody else know?
Diagram that was presented and
I don't think so.
continued to just do our job.
So is that
don't
protocol
think
to
so.
do photographs first?
That would be our protocol, yes.
And then what do you do after that? I know that you were searching for the blood in all the rooms. When did that occur?
That occurs after the initial photographs are done, and then we can walk through and look in the particular areas that's been photographed already.
Okay, so the photographs are finished and then you guys kind of walk through.
Or at least finished in an area that we can actually walk through, yes.
Okay. And then when did you set up the tripod after, how long after that?
So the tripod was set up after the area had been photographed. So that way I wasn't interfering with anything. And that way we're not having the tripod in our original photographs.
Right. Makes sense.
Oh, really? Gibbs.
And do you think, so Detective Duncan was with you going through the house?
I believe he was there, yes.
So it was basically the two of you or three of you going through room by room, or were you split up, or how does that work?
We would have divided and conquered a little bit to make the search a little bit more expedient. But that, again, you're slowed to the time frame of what it takes to do the overall photographs.
So the photographs took about how long?
I don't ever look at my watch to see how long it takes because it's a big house, as you're aware. And I let the crime scene tech do their job. I don't push them and tell them that TikTok, there's nothing like that. It's do your job, we'll follow along.
Okay, and you guys started that process at about 11:45?
I
Where-
think the
let me
actual
see.
time would have been,
I was just going to look. So where are we? Oh, well, that's the end right there. I think this is after the break. I think that's where we're at. We're at 5:42, and it looks like they go. It's probably right in here then, right? Oh, I got you, Journeys. Gibbs. My nickname was Mouse. Don't ask. It's a stupid nickname, and I didn't like it.
And closer to noon that we would have started that process.
And about how long did it take to go through the whole house, and about how long was that process?
Again, for me, I don't document how long it takes for any particular task because each scene is different. I just focus on doing the tasks. I rarely take a look at my watch to see how much time I'm spending on it because I want to do the job. I don't care about the time it takes.
And you did not pick up any of the evidence that was marked. That wasn't part of your protocol, is to take the evidence into custody. Is that correct?
Most of the evidence I did not pick up, correct.
And whose job is that?
We usually defer to the crime scene techs to do that. There are times that we will assist them with doing it depending on what the item is.
So that day, was it Jordan who did that? Was he the crime scene tech that took that evidence?
She would have been the one that was collecting at our direction, yes.
And so you kind of pointed out as the detectives, and then they pick it up and...
Correct, because they're trained how to handle evidence, how to package evidence, how to process. So we work in tandem together. We're the investigative body, and they're the scientific portion of it.
Makes sense. Okay, what time do you think that well, let's ask this. After you're done with the photos, and then you're done with checking the house, and all of the evidence is picked up and logged, then what else do you do at the house? What else did you do at the house that day?
Well, you just bundled that up into like tiny little package, but it took a long time to get to the point that you're talking about. So my day pretty much involved the scene. As far as ancillary jobs to go somewhere else or do other things, now my day was pretty much spent there on Four Peaks.
Correct.
That is true. They said they tried to find witnesses and they couldn't. They couldn't find it, these certain people. Probably a bunch of those people were like, hell no, let's go. We're going to be in Italy that week or this week or until that's over somewhere, right? He doesn't like her. He's already over her. Like, just like we are. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So...
Yeah.
When did you leave the residence then?
We secured from the house
Look, people are leaving.
sometime between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
And what other tasks did I miss that you accomplished during that 12 o'clock to the 4:30 time? I just don't know what you were doing in there. I'm just wondering.
Well, we identify the proper or the evidence items. We're looking for other evidence items. I am still doing the diagram, so measurements need to be done. We have to wait for the medical examiner to arrive because we can't do anything with the body until they show up. And then once they show up, we pretty much stop with the other projects until we can focus on the body and get the body out of there because there aren't very many investigators for the medical examiner in the county. So we don't want to tie them up longer than we have to. And then we'll resume searching or identifying information, evidence, collecting it, and working our way to a conclusion where we can leave the scene.
Okay. So after searching the whole entire house, did you guys search the backyard at all?
It was searched.
Did you do that or did someone else do that?
I did not.
Who would have been in the backyard searching?
It would have either been another detective or we would have asked an officer to do it.
And what would they be looking for?
Any
Oh,
blood
yeah, she did
evidence,
say that,
anything to
Journey.
indicate,
She totally did.
Based upon the information we had of the event that took place inside that house.
Did you go out in the bathroom? Did you go in the side yard? Did you look in the trash
So
cans?
when you made your assessment, you were able to leave after that assessment was made? That everything was accomplished?
Oh, what assessment?
Which assessment are you talking about?
That all the evidence was gathered and collected?
That I was satisfied that we had collected what we needed to collect?
Probably.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
You could just have Ms. Vallow move her reports away from the camera showing.
Oh, is it showing?
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually, let's just turn that off until we need it. Thank you.
Seriously. You guys are cracking me
You
up.
stated earlier that the type of weapon that was found was a .45 caliber?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a semi-automatic?
It is.
Okay. How is that different from like a revolver? What's the difference between that?
The build itself, I like to use simplistic terms when I describe what a revolver looks like. Most people are familiar with a Western movie. So the wheel gun, that's a revolver. What you see modern police officers carrying these days are semi-autos. So that's kind of the analogy I give to people that don't know guns.
And what's the difference between when you're shooting a semi-automatic or shooting a revolver, how fast you can shoot? Does that make sense?
The speed on which somebody can shoot is dependent upon the shooter themselves, the skill level they have, the weapon they might be using. There are a lot of circumstances and things that happen to be able to qualify that statement.
Right. And you have taken many gun classes, right, that we heard of?
And I'm an instructor, yes.
And you're an instructor. So when you're taking a gun class, is it common for them to say, is it common that
What?
they tell you to shoot center mass? Is that a common term?
That is what we train as police officers, is to shoot center mass. It has the highest probability.
You know, she's
of
very busy
guaranteeing a hit on
in her other lives.
the
Very busy.
adversary that you're trying to shoot.
Right. So if you were being attacked, you should point at center mass. Is that correct?
That is what's trained, and because stress can obviously create issues, but yes.
Is it a common term to say to center mass?
No,
In
that
training?
that is something that I've heard.
Did she take a
but I
gun
wouldn't
class one
classify
time?
it as common.
Would you
Oh,
teach
Lord.
that in your class?
It depends on what class is and what we're actually doing. If it's
I love this
standard
guy.
officers, no, I don't tell them to always shoot to center mass. No,
If it was a novice who was like taking a gun class for the first time, would you teach them that?
no.
I thought Alex was a sharpshooter, remember?
You would teach
He
them
sucks,
to
though.
shoot till the threat went away, and that can be with one shot. It can be with more than one shot.
Okay, that's fair. So in this particular gun, the .45, when the shells are ejected, where do they go?
Out and away.
So in this particular gun, do they go to the right or to the left?
I have not test fired this particular gun. I believe
Out
that
and away.
most semi-automatics do eject the
I like this
casings
guy.
out to the right. Whether it's high right, low right, I'm not sure. It could be farther forward, it could be farther back. I did not test fire this gun, so I cannot speak specifically to how this
I know,
particular
right?
gun ejects, other than most likely to the right.
Out and away.
Could go to the left?
No, not the way the ejection port is set up.
So no guns that are .45s could go to the left?
Certainly, you could have a left-handed gun set up that it would eject that way. But the way this particular gun is set up, the ejection port dictates which way that's going to go. When the slide cycles back and that extractor pulls the casing back, the ejector is usually located on the opposite side of the extractor, and that will kick it out of the actual ejection port of the slide.
Yeah, just talk over her
So
head.
for
That's
someone
perfect.
like me, who doesn't really understand guns too well, you would say that a right-handed gun, they would eject out of the right, but a left-handed gun, they could eject out of the left.
And they're very rare to see.
And do people have left-handed guns? I guess I never really thought about that.
Some people do.
If you're left-handed, you'd want that, I guess. Okay. So
Stupid.
in this particular case, when you said in your report that the shells bounced off the wall, they had gone to the right, like they were supposed to. Is that correct?
That is what I was operating off of, yes.
And then they would have bounced to the left.
Yes, because that makes sense.
And they would have landed to the left of my husband. Is that where they were found?
Along the west wall.
Okay. But how close to the wall were they found?
The pictures show where they were found. They're relatively close to the wall, inches away.
I was going to say inches.
Yes.
Not feet, but inches.
Correct.
And so would that be a normal trajectory from hitting the wall to where they landed?
I am not surprised by seeing that, yes.
According to how fast they would be going. How fast does a casing come out of a gun? I don't really know.
I've never chronographed a casing coming out of a gun. I've only chronographed bullets. So I have no idea how fast a casing comes out. It doesn't come out with enough force to really hurt anybody.
So there weren't any divots in the wall or anything like that because,
There could be microscopic divots, but it'd be very difficult to find.
and you didn't find any that were visible to the eye.
Nothing that's caught my eye, no.
So were you there at the time when Alex did the walkthrough?
Yes, ma'am?
And so you were there. Did he describe where he was standing?
Sustained.
Did he show you physically where he was standing?
Sustained.
Was there a wall right next to where he was standing?
Sustained.
She doesn't understand hearsay at all. She needs to go
Your Honor,
to
I'm
her
asking
cell and
for the
study.
truth of the matter asserted. I'm saying he observed this person standing in that place.
Well, you can ask him if he observed Mr. Cox standing in that place.
Okay. Did you observe Mr. Cox standing in the room where he told you that the gun was?
I observed him standing in the vicinity that he indicated.
And was that in the hallway or in the main room?
No, I'm going to object to hearsay. It's non-testimonial,
Right.
but it is still hearsay.
If the question is in relation to Mr. Cox showing or recreating or demonstrating, then the objection is sustained.
Where did you observe Mr. Cox standing when he went through the walkthrough to,
Well, that's the testimony that I'm saying is a form of hearsay. So please ask a different question.
I'm trying to understand, Your Honor. So what the witness observed is not relevant?
I didn't say that. Let's do a sidebar.
Okay, I would love that.
I mean, she doesn't understand what he's telling her, but she's getting snippy with him, with the judge. And the judge is kind of like, see, how long is this? Let's see. They're zooming on the poor witness during this nonsense of Lori having to be talked to. Okay, we're almost there. I think it's going to be quick. Sidebar. I'm like, Lori, you can't ask these questions, lawyer Lori. Remember, you studied law for 5 years. You're supposed to know. Why does she? Lori thinks she can say what she wants. Yeah. She does. She has no idea. She's saying so far overhead. She's trying to sound very knowity and professional, but the questions she's asking are just lame, most of them. Every once in a while, she has a decent question, but I don't even know what her point is. I think her point is to prove that it was self-defense in some weird roundabout way and that they didn't plan to murder Charles. Yes, she did. She studied the back of cereal. Okay, here we go. What's going to happen now? I think we're almost at the end of the day here.
Detective Coons, where would you place the shooter standing in that room?
I would place the shooter in the area of where the curve of the wall was in the kind of the hallway entry area, somewhere in that general area.
So
Did you
would
get a prize?
What direction would you place him standing? Facing, I mean. Not standing, but facing.
For which shot?
The first one.
The first one in a more easterly direction.
She probably don't know where north and east are,
And the
or
second?
west, or
In a
south.
more northern direction with a slight deviation to the east.
So would you have him stepping forward? Is that what you're saying?
No,
What direction would you have him moving?
I didn't say the shooter moved.
You're just saying that he shot from a different angle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you think he was standing in the same location?
I don't know that.
So according to where you put him standing with the first shot, the casing bounced off of the wall to the right and landed to the left.
Correct.
And then where you have him standing in the second shot, the same thing happened.
Approximately, yes.
And how far apart were those casings found?
I don't have the specific measurement of how far apart they were. They were a few feet.
So they're a few feet apart.
Yes.
So if he was standing in the same place, would they be a
Yep.
few feet apart? Or would they be closer?
It depends on a different amount of things, like how was the gun being held? Was it canted to the side? Was it not? What the angle was. Could the shooter have moved? A little, but it would have been the same general vicinity.
But you said he didn't move, according to you.
I said I didn't say he moved.
Oh my God.
So he could have moved because they
Who's
were
on
more than
first? What's on
a foot
second?
apart, the casings found.
A little, yes. Would have been in the same general area.
So he could have taken a couple steps.
Perhaps. Could have slid the body sideways. Anything that you can do to the body, it could have been done in a short area.
And is that common in, I don't know with shooting, if is that common with someone to shoot once and then move and shoot again?
I'll sustain it on speculation.
In your experience as a firearms expert who fires a lot of guns, right? Would that be a common thing to do?
An objection is to speculation as to when, where, circumstances.
All right, I'll sustain the objection as to speculation.
Let's talk about stippling. The first shot, according to you, had stippling. Is
So
that
now we're
correct?
going to be
No.
Lori
It
the
did not have any stippling.
None was observed.
stippling.
And the second shot,
None was observed.
no stippling was observed.
Correct.
Is that what's in the ME's report?
I believe so.
That there was no stippling? Can I have a minute, Your Honor?
Tomorrow's announcement. I, as Lori's counsel, I've decided that I'm going to take over from here on out. She's so stupid to do this. She is so stupid. And what is about the stippling? Like, why does she care about the stippling? That's when, like, you can tell if it was shot at close range or not, where there's like little, from what I was told, the stippling is like the little cracks, or I can't explain it. But because my friend, I'm 100% convinced was murdered by her husband.
You're observing the
So it
autopsy.
went through all that stuff.
That Emmy didn't say anything about stippling,
I don't recall any mention about stippling.
and you didn't have a discussion with him about it?
We would have if he'd observed any.
And so if he said that to someone else, you would be surprised?
I don't know what he had in his notes. I didn't author his report.
Can you describe stippling for us? What that is?
Sure. It's basically a combination of particles that come out from behind or follow the projectile as it exits the barrel. A lot of times it's partial burned or unburned powder, and it's a short distance phenomena, so the person has to be extremely close for the pattern to actually present itself and the particles embed in the clothing or the skin.
So if stippling was found, how far away would the gun have to be from the victim
That depends on the gun.
on this 45 semi-automatic?
I am not an expert on the stippling patterns. That is something that we would have to send to the lab for. And what they would do is they would test it with witness panels at different distances to give that information.
Is there an estimate?
That's where it would come in. Usually the medical examiner, if they observe stippling, will give an estimate of close or contact.
So would you be surprised if he said 2 to 4 feet?
If that's what he says.
That if there's stippling, then the gun would have to be 2 to 4 feet.
It's possible, but I wouldn't hold my hat on that, no. I would have to have the gun tested for that.
Okay.
I love that. I hate the way she
Is this a
says
good
okay, I
spot to
should
break
say.
for the evening?
Sure, Your Honor.
I mean, I'm not cutting you off. If you want to ask a few more questions, that's fine.
Nope, that's fine.
All right, we'll take our evening recess. Members of the jury, please remember the admonition. I'll remind you to specifically avoid any
That was it.
outside information, any information about this case outside this courtroom. And we'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Thank you.
All righty. Goodbye. All right. Well, that was fun. Lawyer is a, oh my gosh. I'm glad I'm not sitting in that courtroom. I'm telling you, I don't think I could deal with it. I'd be like Leighton said, can I have a coloring book while I'm sitting back here? This is where she's trying to ask about the distance of the shot Alec took, except for she doesn't know how to ask the question. Gotcha. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine being her advisory council? I'd be like, can I have a raise, please? I'm glad you're here too. Thanks for being here. So I will try to do this, tomorrow and the next day. Thursday, there's no court on Friday, and then we'll do a Saturday live to see, now that we see the highlights, we can talk about them on Saturday, and hopefully our Saturday crew will show up. Everybody's been texting me and emailing me, not texting, but emailing and asking me when my Saturday lives are coming back. So they were back last week, and I'm going to do it through this trial for sure, unless I have to go out of town or something. But that is the plan right now. But you guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I love you all. You are awesome. And I really appreciate you being here. And I will be back tomorrow. I will put it up at some point tomorrow. I'm not going to do it tonight. I got to get some things done. But I'll put it up. So just watch for the link for tomorrow. And hopefully I'm going to do it, but if I'm a little bit late, that's because I just had to finish working. I have to write all those reports tomorrow for Thursday. Thank you. I appreciate that. My mom has a lot of work right now. A lot of work. Oh, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this. I just showed after your last Saturday for, God, it's been so long. I know. It's been a while. Sometimes my life is just too much. But, you know, that's life. That's how it is for all of us. It's just too much. But I enjoy being here with you and, of course, following these cases, especially this case. But we'll keep our eye out for other new cases, too. Is anybody following Karen Reed? Because I didn't follow it that closely before, but now that the retrial is going to be happening, did they pick a jury yet? Does anybody know? Because I'm interested to see how that's going to go. She's got like this huge movement of people that are like, you know, basically like free Karen Reed. I gave up my work from home. I did. I was underpaid. And I was starting to realize how underpaid I was. Basically, I was at that job for 7 years. And, you know, as a nurse with 20, whatever, I've been a nurse since 2002. So a year ago, November, so like almost a year and a half ago, I quit the work from home job. And now I'm working home hospice. So I have to go visit patients now. But I do get to do a lot of my documentation and stuff at home. Yeah, Karen Reed trial, they started jury selection this week, just like with Loco Lori. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to go because that one was so controversial and people think that they didn't prove their case. Just a side note, my grandparents didn't want to go to a retirement home, but they ended up loving their last years there. It was really nice. They had round-the-clock care, and it took a lot. Yeah, I mean, my mom was in an assisted living before I moved back from Oregon, and but the problem is it was expensive, and my brother was helping, and then my one brother passed away, and you know, so nobody can really help at this point. But I can get her on the assisted living waiver because I was able to get her Medicaid. I didn't think she could qualify, but she did. Had to do a little bit. Like I've started working with a senior advocate, which was super helpful, and he helped me figure it out. So I'm going to get the IHS, it's in-home support services. I'm going to be her caregiver because I already am, and they allotted us 80 hours a month right now, but her doctor had to fill out some forms so we could get more. So I will get paid to care for her, but of course it's not my nurse salary, so I can't quit my day job. I was like, gosh, if they could only pay me what I make, then I could sit here and do all my editing and my live streams and stuff. But the good news is it's in the works. I had to go get my fingerprints done, and I apparently have no fingerprints. And I got rejected. And then they went through the second time. And then, but there still were no fingerprints. He couldn't get any fingerprints off my left hand. As a nurse and as getting older, your fingerprints kind of go away. All the gloves, all the chemicals and stuff. So it's been a process, but I will be hired as her caregiver and they will pay me for 80 hours a month right now. But there's this thing called protective supervision, and she can get up to 285 hours a month for in-home care. So if that happens, then I will get somebody that actually works for in-home support services to come and be here for those hours, which will free me so much because I don't even get to see my grandkids right now, you know? Oh, thank you, Claire. That's so sweet. Yay for memberships. We need to start back on our Friday night happy hour that I used to have for members only. We should do that. We should do that. I think we'll do that. And I appreciate you getting memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at you guys. Got your memberships. Yay. So yeah, I don't know what everybody does on Friday nights, but I don't do a whole lot these days anyway. No, I'm not dating anybody. Me and my dogs and my mom, and that's about it right now these days. Unless I go out of town, which I've tried not to because I don't want to spend any money right now. And I have no one to babysit. I have a neighbor that will. I have to pay her. But, and so when I went to Chicago a couple weekends ago, I had to go to Chicago a couple weekends ago because I got my citizenship, my Greek citizenship. But I had to go there to the consulate because I was born in Ohio. So blah, 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 blah. That's what is happening here. So I'm a dual citizen. So if I ever disappear, I can still do this from Europe. It gives me access to the whole entire EU. So if I ever disappear, I won't disappear from YouTube because it's a lot easier and less expensive to live there than here. And if my siblings don't start helping, I am going to go. All right. That's it. All right, you guys. Thank you for gifting those memberships, Claire. So appreciative of that. And I will see you guys soon. I'm so glad that you enjoy these little intimate lives that we have here. I do appreciate it. Aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. I need to learn how to speak Greek. I don't know how to speak Greek. But, my dad was born there, and it's my right to be a dual citizen. So the good news is when I retire, I can legitimately go there and stay. Because right now, if you go there and you're not a citizen, you only can stay for 90 days. And that's not just in Greece. Like if you go 30 days there and then 30 days in Italy, that's it. You can only stay a total of 90 days in that EU. So now I could go there and stay half the year or whatever, and it's a lot more peaceful there than it is here. Okay, you want me to send it to another? You're so sweet. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you're very sweet. Thank you very much. We do appreciate you. Thank you. All right, you guys, I will let you go. And I'll see you tomorrow night, somehow, some way. If I'm late, it's just because I'm working, but I'll be here and we'll just go over it. If anybody wants to let me know if there's any specific spots that you see that I miss or whatever on the trial tomorrow, if you're watching or listening, let me know where the timestamps are and we can go. Oh, the Greek islands are amazing, amazing. And they're all different and they're all amazing. Since 2019, I've been to Greece 5 times. So I do have a flight booked one way. I haven't got my return yet because I was able to get first class tickets with points. August 2nd, I'm supposed to go, but we'll see. The good thing is when you book with points, if you cancel, you get your points back. But with money, you don't necessarily get your money back. So, all right, guys, enough of my yakking. I will see you soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, you got all. When I put that up on the screen, it doesn't work right because I'm not on the other one. Let's see. I want to see what those. Oh yeah, you got all the little. There you go. Cute with all my little emojis. There, we still have some. We still have all the good ones too. There's Lulu, Loyal Lou, the Greek. I forgot I made all those. All right, everybody, have a great night. I appreciate you all. Stay safe and stay well, and I'll be back soon.